Do you have any clarifications on that?
As of now, no, Abdul.
Yesterday we started with a certain item, right? Where we discussed the documents that were supposed to be created by a business analyst. So we discussed BRD, right? Up to this BRD we discussed.
Yes.
This is the traditional way in which we had preparing the. You are able to see my screen, right?
Yes, yes, I can see the screen.
Okay. So back those days, we did not have Jira. We did not have a tool which is going to match, both the requirements and the coverage of the testing that we had done. So we used to prepare in Excel to have, the requirements against the requirements. What are the deliverables that are given? So we try to match it up for this, whether the testing has been covered or not. So all these three items we put together and then we have a tracking of it. So what we do is we have a requirement ID. Okay. Say for example, if the requirement is to have uh, you know, uh, for example, upload of a image against your profile. So this is one of the requirement. A user profile screen is there in which upload of a image is one of the requirement. Then second one is change password is one of the requirement for a profile. Now these are the two requirements within this user profile screen. So you provide a requirement ID for it. So for each and every requirement, provide a requirement ID. So against the requirement ID, you write the description of what the requirement is exactly. So against the requirement ID in a Excel. Now in the test cases, while the test team is preparing the test cases, so each and every test cases will be prepared based upon the requirement what we have. So you write the test cases that have been covered for this particular requirement. Development completion, you find it out whether the requirements against the test cases and the acceptance that what they have given deliverables are matched. That is what is the requirements traceability matrix. These days it has become obsolete. The reason behind that is anyway we have the Jira. The Jira will be having uh, all the requirements. We saw like we had a user story. So for each and every user story, you have the use case ID, followed by the requirement description in wider view, and then followed by the YS, then followed by the business rule. So what we do is for each and every requirement, there is a requirement ID being created. That requirement ID is the Jira ID. So we directly match that or provide that requirement or the Jira ID into the against the user story. So we ensure that XY is that requirement is matched with the requirement ID 123. So for this 123, whether the testing coverage is done or not. So that is how we do it these days. But back those days, we did not have the Jira, so that is why they prepared a separate document called the requirement traceability matrix. But still, many of the companies are, still following this requirement traceability matrix. This might be a task of a testing team, or this might be a task of a business analyst, depending upon the size of the team that is involved, depending upon the practices that each and every company does. This is going to vary. Okay. Let me see what the things are. Okay. A traceability matrix is a document that relates two baseline documents required mainly to check the completeness of the relationship. Basically, why we are checking is we are just ensuring that whether the requirement is whatever the requirement given and the deliverable both are matching or not. So if you are going to match both the items, then whether the testing for those items are being covered or not. So that is the ultimate aim of having the requirement traceability matrix. So requirement traceability matrix captures all the requirements. Okay. proposed by the client or the software development team, and their traceability in a single document delivered at the conclusion of a life cycle. This is what I told you, the deliverables. Okay. In other words, it's a document that maps and traces the user requirements in the test cases. So covering the items in terms of test cases. Now,
Abdul, to maintain the track of the requirement and the deliverable. That's it, right?
yes, exactly.
Okay.
From the testing point of view, if you want to say, so say a test manager asks his team, have all the requirements been, covered during our testing or not? That is the question the test manager puts to his team at the start of testing. So how they are going to ensure? The testing team answers in such a way that, okay, for each and every requirement ID, we have created the following test cases, and all the scenarios have been covered within the for each and every requirement ID. So they will ensure and try to say that map those items along with the positive and negative test case scenarios. Okay.
Okay.
Mainly the parameters within the requirement RTM or requirement ID. I told you, like, requirement description, any test cases available. Here they are saying it is unit test cases that might be applicable only to the development team, because the testing team or the BA is not going to involve in the unit testing, followed by system test cases, so any type of test cases. Then I told you, from the BA point of view, you can have your own user acceptance test cases. Okay. So these are the main parameters. The other parameters they are mentioned, this test, trace the test script for the automation testing they are mentioning here. Then the integration test cases, wherever you have multiple systems or multiple touch cases of the points, then in that case we can have the integration test cases. Okay. So if it is based on the layout and other aspects, that is the requirement is mainly on the case of more design oriented type of situation, where you have more layouts are being tested, you are testing some templates, color palettes, and all those relatives have been traced to the design specifications. If it is more related, instead of having the whole system in place, you have the design specification and then you just check it across it. So basically, you are trying to cover whether the entire requirements are being delivered as required. So just mapping those uh, entry item and the exit item. Okay. Shall I pass on to the next?
Yes, Abdul.
Okay. So many terms are interchangeably used. Okay. In many cases, the FRD, FRS, okay, are interchangeably. Some of the companies state that it is uh, FRD. In some cases, they say it as FRS. So they are interchangeably used. So for each and every company, this is going to again vary depending upon the style in which they approach, depending upon the various projects they have handled in the recent past. So basically, the FRS, as the term refers, it is the coverage of the functional requirements that what you are supposed to have. Say within a system, what is the functionality? You are not going to give the solution approach here. You are going to describe what is the functionality that is being required. What is the functionality that is being required from the client end? So you're going to state about the objective of the project. Okay. Objective of the project or objective of the any piece of requirement that you are going to develop, that is a FRD. So they are saying example. Then the background of the, say, yesterday when we discussed about BRD also we had the similar topics, right? Okay. So either they will go with any one of the document. All these days, traditional in the traditional flow or the waterfall model, they have been using multiple documents in order to refer. But now it has come down, reduced to a much, uh, they are trying to much reduce the documents and then they try to focus on the development aspects. So, but back in those days, they had all these, they had BRD, they had FRD, they had LLD, high level document, low level document, descriptions, everything. But still, though they are using it or not, let's have an idea, fair idea about, what are the documents. So yesterday also when we discussed about BRD, we had this case like background. So what they are trying to say in the background, summarize the conditions that created the need of application. That is the problem behind the origin of this case or the current issue that the customer is facing. And the third case is about the purpose. What are the business objectives that is forced that has forced you to prepare or that has forced you to go for the solution approach of the development. The need behind day-to-day business activity. Then I told you, like, the assumption and constraints. What are the assumption and constraints? So when we say assumptions are those related to either hardware or software, any legal aspects that are related to that, and what is the type of development in the technology. When we say it is because of, say, for example, when we go for a app, now you're rolling out a new version of app. The reason behind that is the older version of the app, what we had supporting only to the level of, say, Android 6. Now, since the Android has rolled out the new version, your app has also be upgraded so that it is upward compatible. So in order to do that, now you go for an enhancement. So that is the thing that you are going to explain in the development in technology. I am getting lot of noise from your end.
Is it?
Yeah.
No, my room is silent actually.
Okay.
If now you're getting the voice?
Voice is clear, but in the mid, like a paper, moving a paper or moving some object, that creates
Okay,
a hell of a lot. I
maybe.
don't know the reason. Okay,
I'm sorry for that. Maybe I don't know.
no issue. Yeah, if you're able to hear, then that is fine. Assumptions. So there are two items we need to discuss: assumption and constraints. So when the assumptions, you are saying, what is the current system in place from the technology oriented point of view? What is the hardware required for that system? Any legality conditions that are attached to the rolling out of the project. Then if they have any development in the technology, when we say, as I said, rolling out of a new version of the product or the project, because the reason that the current system is not compatible with the latest version of the, say, for example, Windows, or with the latest version of the Android for a mobile app. So those are the assumptions. Okay. Then constraint. The constraint may be, this is because of uh, what is the bottleneck behind rolling out certain projects. So those things, those aspects we are going to speak about here. So the constraints. Constraints are the conditions outside the control of the project that limit the design alternatives. So when we say that, here they have given it as some government regulations, standards imposed on the solution, then some strategic decisions. Okay. Say for example, your your app or your project. Okay, consider a e-commerce product. Okay, consider a e-commerce product, which is going to allow the user to sell the products online. Okay, now in this case, always when we see there are always for the e-commerce sites are more attracted by a customers because of the reason that they provide multiple offers. Okay, now one of the a company is asking for an e-commerce site, and then you are going for the e-commerce site preparation based on the requirements. Now, the company has a strategy. The company who is going to provide the e-commerce solution via their name has a strategy. Say they cannot apply the multiple coupons at the same time. That is one of the strategy. Then they have a strategy of first time users to have a 50 percentage of flat for the first purchase. So these are the strategies that the company follow. So based on this, you are going to take up the call. Then on a wider view, a guest user cannot have the offers to be provided. So likewise, they have their own strategy of the business. So that thing is going to be a limiting factor from the offers point of view. Similarly, standards imposed on the solution. Say the e-commerce company comes with a decision that no, we are not going for any desktop application. So directly we are going to have only the mobile app to be rolled out. Okay, that is one of the limitations. Then the government limitation is within the e-commerce site, I cannot sell the medicine. So government imposes a ban that medicines cannot be sold out with the license type of license that you have. That is one of the limitations. So these are the constraints that you are going to explain here. Got it? Then always discuss about the interfaces to the external systems. So when we say that interfaces to the external system, it is say the integration touch points of the system that you are developing. Say for example, okay, the user logs in twice with the invalid item. So after third time, the user is automatically has to be sent an email to reset the password. Now in this, what is the interface that you are involving? The rule is, okay, the rule is the user must be allowed to input 2 times the invalid password. If he tries for the third time, then automatically the application or the project has to send the email link to the user if he has provided valid email ID all these times, and then send a reset password link to the user. Now this is one of the rule that you are setting. So what is the interface that you are going to have here? Okay.
No idea, Abdul. Just thinking about that.
Okay, that's fine. See, what the idea here is, you are trying to have your application along with the email server. So from the email integration touch point, you are going to send the mail to the
Use.
particular or the concerned user. So that is one of the case. Now take another real-time example. Say, do you know about the lead opportunity, the Salesforce related stuff? Have any fair idea about Salesforce or any idea? Do you have any idea about the Salesforce system?
No, I don't have any idea about the Salesforce.